Hey, what's going on YouTube? Figured I would just set the mood, as you see in the title. Could be a spooky one for you. Who knows? If you're into the paranormal or whatnot, this is absolutely a true story. Happened about 21 years ago to me and some of the people around in my family. And none of us talked about it until one night we were all together, um, just sitting around chatting. So without further ado, thanks for stopping by. Here we go. Um, so, it was July of 1998. I was working in Tampa, and my brother was home from school at the family home um, across the bay in Clearwater. So, I figured, hey, it's my lunch break. I'll go across the bay and I'll go spend some time with my brother, who I didn't see very often because he went to school out of state. And so I figured, hey, I'll go and surprise him. We'll go get lunch somewhere. And so I drove over to the house that I grew up in, where my mom and all sister, dad, everyone was at. But they were all at work, except for my brother, which he turned out not to be home anyway. But this is how it went. I'm driving home, and I pull up to the house, and I get out, and I felt fine. I was excited to see my brother. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, so it was going to be nice. Just life happens, work, school, that whole thing. And so, as soon as I get out of the car, I get this real weird feeling. Just I can't explain it. It's just weird. And so, those of you who may have seen a ghost or just had something spooky happen to you, you have this kind of it's never happened to me before, and it's only happened 2 or 3 other times since then. And as I said, this was my first experience 21 years ago. And so I'm getting out of the car, I'm walking up to the door, and I just get this really weird feeling on the back of my neck. It's just my hair is standing out. I'm just feeling really uncomfortable for some reason, and I have no reason to feel this way at all. It's a very nice neighborhood. Everyone around us was real cool. I mean, it's people we've known for our whole lives that live in the area. So I pull up, my brother's not there, of course. And I go and I open the door, and typically whenever I even pull my keys out to open the door, we had a family dog that was there. His name was Ernie. He was a Dalmatian. He would be at the door waiting to see who's coming through. He was just a happy-go-lucky dog as he was. So when I get there, I put the keys in the door and I twist the knock, and usually that's, I'll hear Ernie, the dog, at the door just waiting to go outside or can greet or whatnot. So I opened the door, and he wasn't there. And so I stuck my head in the door and I peeked around the corner, and it was into our living room. So as you come in the front door, you have a wall in front of you, and you can either go straight, left, right, and our living room was off to the right. And I see my Dalmatian just sitting down, looking like this. And his head was just following something. And then I looked in a little further and peeked around, and I see this little girl. And she's skipping in circles in the living room. And my Dalmatian is watching this. And I know he was, because he didn't come and greet me. He just looked and followed this little girl who was skipping in circles. And I'm looking at her, and she didn't move when I opened the door. And I made all kinds of noise just to kind of announce myself. And she was just kind of just skipping right along. But it was kind of strange because she was sort of transparent, but not. And she was dressed in like what I would call like an 18th century type little girl dress. It was blue. Had the long sleeves and the ruffly collar and long down to her ankles. And I said to the little girl, I said, "Hi, excuse me, who are you?" And she stops and turns around and looks at me. But whenever she turned around and looked at me, her face was kind of misted out. It was like there was nothing there. It was just where eyes, nose, and a mouth should be. But as I said, she was kind of transparent. And it kind of struck me as odd because I could make out that she had long red hair, she had a blue dress, she had white, I guess, stockings or hose or something, just something white on her legs and black shoes. And as I asked her, I said, "Hello, how are you?" And she stopped skipping, stopped moving, arms completely at her side, and looks at me, walks around the couch, and then through my parents' bedroom door. The door was shut. And so at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm not dealing with any of this. I'm going to go back to work. And so I shut the door and I lock it. And I never said anything that day about it, and was a little freaked out. I just couldn't believe what I saw. I wasn't necessarily scared, but I wasn't really happy to see it either, because either I was going crazy or the ghost was really there. And I'm not crazy. Some people might think I'm crazy, but no, I'm really not crazy. So time goes by, I would say about 2 weeks, and then my mom called up and said, "Hey, why don't you come over for dinner? Toby's going to be going back to school in a couple of weeks, and just kind of want to have a family dinner, just you, your brother, your sister, and myself, and my sister's boyfriend and my brother's girlfriend at the time." And so I'm like, "All right, you guys are going to be home, right?" She's like, "Yeah, we'll all be here. It'll be Friday night. Just come on over." Okay. So I do that, and I'm driving over there, and it was very uneventful. Walked in the house. Everything was normal, as it's always been for the 20 plus years that I lived there prior to that happening. And we were just sitting around eating and talking, and my mom said to my brother, my sister, his girlfriend, and my sister's boyfriend, she goes, "Y'all," and my mom's dad, they're from Louisiana, they're very country, but as you notice, I'm only saying mom because dad is not there anymore. Dad had passed away about 2 months prior to this event in the house. So this is where it gets kind of strange and spooky, and kind of explains a few things too. So my mom says, "Y'all, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm honestly telling you, I have been seeing this little girl in the house, and I could not find her for the life of me, and I know that she's in here, and I think it's a ghost." I kept everything to myself at that point. I'm just like, what the heck? Because she's seeing the same exact thing that I saw. She described the girl to a T. Blue dress, red hair, couldn't really make out her face. And my sister goes, "You know what? She was standing next to my bed this morning whenever I woke up, and I just said hey to her." My sister's like that. You have to understand, my sister is very non-reactive, I guess. So she just said, "Hi, what's your name?" And my sister's boyfriend said, "This is true because Mandy was telling me," because she didn't want to say anything because she thought that people would think that she was crazy. And of course, I'm sitting there, and I didn't want people to think I'm crazy. And so I said, "You know what? I came over the other day to have lunch with Toby, and I opened the door, and that little girl was skipping in the living room." And it was happening so fast, and so much so, Ernie, the dog, didn't even come over to greet me because he was just watching this little girl. And so we all just kind of looked at each other in awe, and they're just like, "I can't believe this just happened." We all described the person to a T. And who she is, what she was, why she was there is all beyond us. So we got to talking, and weeks, months go around, and they're still seeing this little girl. I never saw her again. I just saw her that one day, and I don't know whether I closed myself off to it or what the deal was, but I never saw that particular girl ever again. So people from Roswell, Georgia, who were paranormal investigators, came to our house and did kind of whatever paranormal researchers do. I don't even know. They just got this equipment, and some can talk to them and others can't. It all still kind of baffles me. Whether I believe in it or not, it's really here nor there. This really happened. So the lady that came and investigated, she listed out the little girl to a T as well. We didn't tell this lady any information about what we saw. So her explanation as to what happened was this. My dad passed away inside the house of a massive heart attack while he was brushing his teeth. He died before he hit the floor, in my parents' bedroom. And so upon him dying and transcending, if you know, those of you that believe in that, or you may not, I don't know, but this is how it was explained to us. When he died, there's kind of like a passage that the spirit goes through, like a veil, and it opens for that person, and it's supposed to close afterwards. And what they're saying happened was that when my dad went through, it didn't close, the veil that he passed through to go to heaven or whatever is next. I mean, we prefer to say heaven just because I like to think of that happening. When I die, I don't want to think that, you know, this is it. You know, we just cease to exist into oblivion and whatnot. But she told us that the little girl came in through there, and it let her in, and then a very malevolent spirit was in like our pantry area of all places. And I never had an experience with that, but they said it was a very dark entity. It was something very malevolent, and it was in there. And I was like, great, okay, they're gonna eat my Pop-Tarts because I love Pop-Tarts. So little side note there on that horror deal. So that's my story. That's kind of what happened. They exorcised the house and, you know, asked the child. They called it a joy child is what they were called. Again, I don't know. I didn't research it any further than that. It was just a story that I've kind of kept to myself for a lot of time. And every time I've told the story to like friends and acquaintances and things like that, as like ghosts and spirits and things like that come up, they're all really fascinated by it. So that's the story. I hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested in hearing it. Take it easy. Peace.